It was Monday morning. The office building was busy and loud. Phones were ringing. Elevators were opening. Employees were walking fast, holding coffee and laptops. In the middle of all this noise, a man quietly stepped into the building. He wore an old gray suit. His shoes were simple and worn out. He didn't have a name badge. He didn't carry a laptop. No one recognized him. The receptionist looked up, then looked away. She didn't greet him. She didn't ask who he was. She thought he was probably here to fix something. Maybe the printer guy. Maybe a delivery man. So she went back to her phone. The man didn't say anything. He simply walked to the waiting area and sat in the corner, alone. He looked around. He saw workers laughing at the front desk. He saw managers walking past interns without saying hello. He saw the cleaning lady carrying a heavy bag while 3 employees ignored her. He took a small notebook from his pocket and quietly wrote something. No one noticed. Kekayem, the conference room. A big meeting was happening. Team leaders were talking loudly. Everyone looked busy and important. The room smelled of expensive coffee and strong perfume. The same quiet man walked in slowly and stood by the door. One of the managers, Mr. Raza, looked at him and frowned. "Excuse me," he said sharply. "This meeting is not open to outsiders. Please wait outside." The man looked at the table and said in a soft voice, "I was invited to observe." Mr. Raza laughed. "Observe what? You don't even work here." Others in the room chuckled. "No worries," the man replied. "I'll just sit in the back." He walked to the last chair in the corner and sat silently. Some employees whispered to each other, "Who is he? Maybe a government inspector? Nah, he's too old school, probably someone from maintenance." But no one stopped him. The meeting started. A company full of masks. As the meeting went on, the quiet man took notes. He didn't speak. He didn't ask questions. He just listened. He watched how some employees only smiled when the boss walked by. He noticed how some team members interrupted others, but no one corrected them. He saw how junior workers were ignored, and how the loudest people got the most attention. One woman was speaking when Mr. Raza cut her off. "That idea won't work," he said, rolling his eyes. The woman went quiet. The quiet man noticed that too, and wrote something in his notebook. 30 p.m., the break room. At lunch, the quiet man walked into the break room. The room was full of noise and laughter. People stood in groups, gossiping and eating fast. No one invited him to sit. One employee stared at him and whispered, "That guy's still here? Who even let him in?" Someone laughed. "He probably got lost. Let him stay. He's harmless." The man stood near the coffee machine. His cup was old and stained. He poured himself a small amount and walked to the side. Just then, a young intern named Sana walked in. She saw the man standing alone. Unlike the others, she smiled. "Sir, would you like to sit?" she asked politely. He nodded. "Thank you." They sat in silence for a moment. Sana looked nervous but curious. "Are you here for the audit?" she asked. The man smiled faintly. "Something like that?" She tilted her head. "You don't talk much." He chuckled softly. "Sometimes silence teaches more than noise." Sana smiled. She didn't know who he was, but she respected his calm energy. She offered him half of her sandwich. He accepted it, and once again, he pulled out his notebook and wrote something. PM. The real test begins in the afternoon. A training session began in the same conference room. All department heads were invited. The quiet man returned and sat in the corner again. This time, no one asked him to leave, but people still ignored him. They acted like he wasn't there. Some even cracked jokes behind his back. One senior officer whispered, "If he's a spy, he's the most boring one I've seen." Everyone laughed. But when the trainer began the session, he looked at the quiet man and nodded with respect. Nobody noticed. PM. The message at PM, a strange thing happened. All company emails received a short message. Subject, he's not who you think he is. From Board of Directors, everyone stared at their screens. Some people laughed again, others looked confused. One team leader said, "Is this a prank?" Mr. Raza looked at the quiet man and frowned. "Is this about you?" he asked. The man didn't answer. He simply smiled, closed his notebook, and stood up. Then he said softly, "Thank you for letting me observe." And he walked out. The shock that was coming. As he left the room, everyone looked at each other. Who was he? Why did the board mention him? And why was the trainer respectful toward him? Suddenly, the CEO's assistant rushed into the room. Her face was pale. She looked at Mr. Raza and said, You told him to leave?" Mr. Raza raised an eyebrow. "Yes. Why?" she whispered. "That man is our new CEO." The room went silent. All eyes widened. Some dropped their coffee cups. One employee whispered, "Oh no." Sana, the intern, sat, frozen in shock. The next morning, the office felt different. People whispered. People stared at every corner. And almost everyone asked the same question. Is it true? Panic in the air, mister. Raza walked into the building wearing a new suit. He tried to look confident, but deep down he was nervous, very nervous. He had spent the whole night replaying yesterday in his head. How he told the man to leave, how he mocked him, how everyone laughed, and then how the CEO's assistant had whispered, "That man is our new CEO." It couldn't be real. He told himself maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a prank, but when he opened his company email, his heart dropped. There it was, an official message from the board. Subject, welcome our new CEO, Mr. Shah Alvi. Mr. Alvi has spent the last 3 days visiting departments quietly. He believes true leadership starts with observation, not introduction, shock, guilt, fear. The office turned into chaos. People who had laughed yesterday were now silent. Those who had ignored the quiet man were now terrified. Some deleted old chat messages. Some rushed to HR to explain they didn't know. Others sat still, hoping the new CEO didn't remember their faces. But it was too late. He had noticed everything, and more importantly, he had written it all down. Sana, the intern, meanwhile. Sana sat at her desk, stunned. She remembered the man's calm voice, how he took half her sandwich, how he smiled when she said he reminded her of her father. She whispered to herself, "I shared food with the CEO. One of her team leads mocked her. You really think he'll remember you? You're just an intern." But deep inside, she knew he would, because while others looked through him, she saw him. 30 a.m. He returned. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened. Out stepped Mr. Shah Alvi. But now, he was wearing a black suit, clean shoes, and a gold company badge that said, CEO Shah Alvi. The receptionist gasped. People stood up from their chairs, some tried to smile, others looked down in shame. He didn't stop at the front desk. He walked slowly, looking at faces, the same faces who ignored him. Now waited for his next words. But he said nothing. He walked into the conference room, followed by silence. The meeting room was full managers, department heads, HR, and senior. Staff gathered. No one joked this time. No one whispered. When Mr. Shah sat at the head of the table, everyone held their breath. He looked around the room, and then he opened his small notebook, page after page. He had written names, actions, and words. He read the first line. Mr. Raza told a stranger to leave. Laughed when others joined. Mr. Raza's face turned red. Shazia ignored the receptionist struggling with heavy files. Fahad deleted visitor entry logs, lied to security. One by one, he read names and actions. He didn't yell. He didn't get angry. He simply read slowly, clearly. Everyone in the room was frozen. Then he closed the book. Mr. Shah looked at them and said calmly, "I gave this company 3 days. I gave you no name, no title, no power, and I saw your truth." He paused. Leadership is not shown in how you treat your boss, but in how you treat the one who has no power. No one spoke, not even Mr. Raza. The intern's name. Then Mr. Shah turned the page and smiled. Sana offered kindness, shared her food, asked no questions. Everyone turned to look at her. Sana's hands were shaking. Mr. Shah stood and said, "She treated a stranger with respect. That is the kind of leadership I value." He walked to Sana and handed her a folder. She opened it. Her eyes widened. Inside was a letter. Promotion. Executive assistant to CEO. Tears welled up in her eyes. Everyone in the room clapped, except the ones who were still ashamed. The news spread fast. The quiet man was not just the CEO, he was the new owner of the company. Some called it a miracle, others called it a trap, but one thing was clear: no mask could hide anyone now. 30 a.m. The list on Tuesday morning, the office printer made a strange sound. One by one, papers came out with a single title on top. The first list, 13 names. Each name had a word beside it: warning, final notice, termination, or promotion. A junior staff member saw it first. He ran to the meeting room and said, "Sir, the list is real." Everyone froze. Mr. Shah Alvi had started making decisions, and no one could predict what would happen next. The storm. Arrives, Mr. Raza entered his office and saw a letter on his desk. His hands shook as he opened it. It read, "Final warning. Arrogance is not leadership. Your actions have consequences." He sat down hard, his face pale, his heart racing. This wasn't just a warning. This was his last chance. The Whisper Network. Some employees began whispering in corners. They asked things like, "Do you think he knows what we said about him? Should we go say, sorry? Is it too late?" One woman, Aliyah, sat silently at her desk. She hadn't laughed at the CEO. She hadn't mocked him, but she had stayed silent when others did. Now she wondered, is silence just as bad? She wasn't sure, and that thought scared her. Meanwhile, in the parking lot far away from the office, a man sat in his car watching the building. He wore sunglasses and had a tight jaw. He held a phone in his hand, staring at Mr. Shah's picture on the screen. It was Kamal, a former director who was removed last year for fraud. He had lost everything. And now, he wanted revenge. He called someone and said, "He thinks he's smart. Let's see how long he lasts." A plan was beginning, a dark one. The one who lied inside the office. Another name on the list caused panic. Fahad, terminated. People gasped. Fahad had been with the company for 5 years. He was smart. He was fast. He was always confident, but he had lied to security. He had deleted visitor logs. He had joked about the CEO to others. Now, he was out. No meeting, no warning, no goodbye, just a simple email. "Your access has been revoked." And just like that, he was gone. A company on the edge. The mood was different now. People walked slower. Voices were quiet. Smiles were fake. Everyone was being careful, because no one knew who was next. Sana's new desk. Sana, the intern, now, sat in the CEO's office, not as a guest, but as his assistant. She couldn't believe it. Her desk was simple, but beside it sat Mr. Shah's desk. Clean, powerful, quiet. He entered with a soft smile. "Ready to begin?" he asked. She nodded. Then he handed her a document titled, "The Company We Must Build." Inside were notes. Remove fear, not honesty. Reward respect, not noise. Listen to the ignored. She looked up. "This is beautiful," she whispered. He smiled. "You'll help me build it." PM. One more message. Right before the day ended, another email was sent. It was short but powerful. Subject, tomorrow. The second list. Some employees cried. Some started packing, just in case. And others began planning how to win back trust. But deep in the shadows, Kamal, the man outside, was still watching. And he wasn't planning on trust. He was planning destruction. The second list was coming, and with it, fear returned, louder, heavier, sharper, but no one knew. The real danger wasn't just the list. It was a man in the shadows, waiting to strike. 45M. A new camera Sana walked into the CEO's office with a cup of tea. She noticed something new above the door. A tiny camera, red light blinking. "Sir?" she asked, pointing at it. "Mr." Shah smiled. "This office has ears now. We'll catch the ones who smile in front and stab behind." Sana shivered. Something about today felt different. 30 a.m. The second list. Arrives, an envelope was placed on the office notice board. In bold black letters, List 2, cleanup begins. Employees gathered slowly, afraid to look. Some peeked and gasped. 3 promotions. 5 terminations. 2 demotions. A man whispered, "He's not cleaning the company. He's rebuilding it." AM. The whisper. Trap inside. The break room. 3 senior employees spoke in hushed voices. They didn't know the small vending machine had a mic inside it now. One said, "This new CEO, acting like a king." Another replied, "We'll act sweet. Wait for him to slip. Then we push back." The third added, "Kamal's planning something. It's coming soon." Click. Sana heard the audio on her tablet. She ran to Mr. Shah's office, breathless. "Sir." They mentioned Kamal. His face turned serious. "So, the rat is not alone." 10:30 a.m. A quiet fire. That same afternoon, Mr. Shah called the 3 whisperers into his office. He didn't shout. He didn't scold. He just looked at them and said, "I gave you freedom, and you used it to plan betrayal." He pointed to the camera above. "You smiled at me, then plotted behind my back." The room went silent. One of them said nervously, "It was a joke, just small talk." Mr. Shah replied coldly, "Loyalty is tested when no one is watching, and I was always watching." He handed them each an envelope. Inside, termination letters. Effective immediately. The 3 walked out quietly. This time, no one clapped. No one smiled, because now everyone knew loyalty was not a game. Meanwhile, Kamal moves closer. Outside the building, in a black car, Kamal watched everything. He saw the 3 men leave. He smiled. Good. Now they're angry. That makes them useful. He picked up a USB drive from the dashboard. This will shut everything down. Inside the drive was something dangerous. Fake data, fake emails, fake accusations. If released, it could destroy Mr. Shah's name. Kamal wasn't trying to fix anything. He wanted revenge. PM, an unexpected guest security called. The CEO's office. "Sir, there's a woman downstairs. She says she's your mother." Mr. Shah stood up fast. His voice softened. "Let her in. Now." Sana had never seen him nervous before. When the elevator opened, an old woman with warm eyes walked out. Hugged her like a child. "Ami, why didn't you tell me you were coming?" She smiled. "I saw your name in the news." I wanted to see the man my son has become. She looked around the office and said, Power is like fire, Shah. It gives light, but it can also burn. He nodded. I'll remember. PM. The USB is delivered back in the parking lot. Kamal handed the USB to a delivery boy. No, one must know it's from me. The boy nodded and left. That night, the USB was placed on the CEO's desk with a note. For your eyes only. Mr. Shah looked at the drive. He didn't touch it. Instead, he turned to the camera feed and smiled. Let's see who thinks they're smarter than me. The office was quiet. Too quiet. Everyone had seen the USB on the CEO's desk. Some guessed it was important. No one knew. It was a trap. AM. The USB is plugged in. Sana entered the office with a nervous smile. Sir, should I scan the USB? Mr. Shah shook his head slowly. No need, it's fake, but we'll let it play. He plugged the USB into a secure laptop, not connected to the office network. Files popped up. Fake email chains, edited reports, screenshots showing harassment, audio clips of angry threats. It all looked real. Too real. Sana's eyes widened. Sir, if someone believes this, he stopped her. They won't, because I already know who sent it. He pressed a button under his desk. Across the building, hidden cameras activated. TM, the bait is set and intern named. Zaid was asked to deliver the USB to a news reporter later that day. He didn't know it was fake. He didn't know it was a trap. But Mr. Shah had a reason. He wanted to see who had given Zaid the job, and more importantly, who was watching. 30M. The leak. Begins in the hallway. Someone took a picture of the USB in Zaid's hand. That image reached Kamal, still sitting in his black car near the parking lot. He smiled and whispered to himself, Good boy. Let the world burn. But inside the building, another camera caught the moment. A man named Imran from the HR department had been secretly working with Kamal. He had given the USB to the delivery boy. He had placed the fake note. And now, he was texting updates. He thought no one saw him. He was wrong. PM. The CEO's office is full. Mr. Shah called for a meeting. The heads of departments, legal, HR, and security were present. He stood silently, holding the USB. This small object could destroy a man's name, but not mine. Then he turned to the big screen behind him. Let's watch something together. He played a video recording. Everyone watched as Imran was seen passing the USB to the delivery boy, then texting Kamal, then deleting the messages. Gasps filled the room. Imran tried to speak. This is fake. Mr. Shah cut him off. The footage is from our new camera system, installed after the first list. You forgot the vending machine sees everything now. PM. No mercy. Imran was fired on the spot. Security escorted him out as he screamed, You won't last, Shah. You're not one of us. Mr. Shah simply said, You're right. I'm not like you. 3 p.m. Kamal realizes the game back in the car. Kamal waited for a message. Instead, he saw a breaking news alert. Leaked USB plot exposed, insider. Imran caught on camera. His smile vanished. No. He called a number. No answer. He started his car and drove away fast. But inside the office, Mr. Shah was already watching the parking lot footage. Kamal, you just showed your hand. 4:30 p.m. A promotion. Later that day, Mr. Shah walked into the intern room. He looked at Zaid. You followed orders, stayed quiet, and stayed loyal. That takes courage. He handed him a letter. Promoted, junior cybersecurity analyst. Zaid stared in shock. Me, sir? Mr. Shah smiled. The quiet ones are the most dangerous if they choose the right side. PM. The real battle begins. The office was calm again, but Mr. Shah stood by the window, deep in thought. Sana asked, "Sir, will Kamal try again?" He nodded slowly. "Yes. And next time, he won't use a USB." He turned to her. "He'll use people. He'll use fear. But now, we're ready." Everything seemed calm. Too calm. The fake USB had failed. The spy, Imran, was exposed. And Kamal had disappeared. But Mr. Shah knew something deep in his gut. When snakes hide, they're only waiting to strike. He was right. And this time, the betrayal would come from someone close. A.M. A message from Kamal on a rainy morning. Sana entered the office with hot tea. Mr. Shah was already there holding a printed letter. She read it quietly. "You may win little games, Shah, but I still own pieces of your board. Let's see if you recognize the one sitting right beside you." Sana looked up, confused. "What does that mean?" Mr. Shah didn't answer, but his eyes, cold, sharp, moved slowly across the room. "A.M. The missing file, an important document, went missing from the server. It was a blueprint, Mr. Shah's 5-year plan for rebuilding the company. Only 4 people had access to it. Mr. Shah, Sana, the head of legal, and a new team member, Rehan, the data analyst. Rehan had joined just 2 weeks ago. He was smart, quiet, helpful, too perfect. Banglam, a test of loyalty. Mr. Shah called all 4 into the room. He placed 4 copies of the document on the table. One had a fake paragraph added, something dangerous. He gave each person a copy and waited. "If this document reaches outside the company," he said, "I'll know which version was sent." They left one by one. Now, it was a waiting game. PM. The leak confirmed at exactly 1:04 p.m. The fake version appeared on a private business blog. Someone had leaked it. Only one copy had that fake paragraph. Mr. Shah checked the code. It was Rehan's version. PM. A hidden recording Sana entered the security room and asked for backup. Footage. They found something shocking. 2 days ago, Rehan had met someone in a cafe across the street. That someone was Kamal. He had joined the company under a fake name. He wasn't just a spy. He was Kamal's new puppet. It's PM, the confrontation mister. Shah called Rehan into his office. He didn't raise his voice. He simply said, "You met Kamal. You gave him my plan. And you thought no one saw you." Rehan tried to smile. "You can't prove anything." Mr. Shah pressed a button. On the big screen, video footage of the cafe meeting. Silence. Rehan's face turned pale. "Please, don't report me. He forced me. He said he'd hurt my family." Mr. Shah paused. "Why didn't you come to me?" Rehan whispered, "I didn't trust you." Those words hurt more than the betrayal itself. PM. A hard decision. Mr. Shah called the board. He didn't hide the problem. He explained everything and submitted Rehan's resignation himself. But he also did something unexpected. He offered to help Rehan find legal protection. "Betrayal is not always born from evil," he said. "Sometimes it's born from fear." The board was silent. Then one member said, "This is why we follow. You, Shah. You don't just fire people, you understand them." 6 p.m. Sana's doubt. After everyone left, Sana sat quietly in her chair. She finally spoke. "Sir, if I was in Rehan's place and scared, would you still protect me?" Mr. Shah looked at her, serious but kind. "I'd protect you, Sana. But I'd expect you to tell me the truth. Always." Sana nodded, but something in her eyes changed. Something cold. Something hidden. because Sana was hiding something too. For weeks, Sana had been his most trusted helper. She brought him tea, managed his time, protected his secrets. But now, a single envelope threatened everything. M. The envelope, it was already on his desk when he arrived. No name, no stamp. Just a single sentence written on top. You missed one. Inside the envelope were printed screenshots, messages between someone inside the office, and Kamal. The contact name was blurred out, but one message said, "He still doesn't know. I'm close to him every day." And another, "He thinks I'm loyal. I'll finish what you started." Mr. Shah sat quietly, reading the messages again and again. His hand tightened into a fist. Someone very close. Someone I see every day. 30 a.m. Doubt he called the IT team and ordered a trace. He didn't say whose device, but deep in his heart, a name kept echoing. Sana. He shook the thought away. No, not her. She's been loyal. She's been with me since day one. But the doubt stayed. Mom, the trace returns. The IT team came back with results. The messages were sent using a hidden app installed on Sana's office tablet. Mr. Shah stared at the report, speechless. His heart dropped. No, this must be a mistake. But the evidence was clear. It was her device, her network, her timestamp. PM, a quiet confrontation. He didn't call her into his office. He went to her desk. Sana, walk with me. They walked into the private meeting room. He didn't waste time. He slid the envelope across the table. She looked at it. Her hands trembled. Sir, I didn't mean to. Mr. Shah didn't blink. How long? She looked down, tears in her eyes. Since the beginning. Kamal. He helped my father once. Saved his life. I owed him. So you spied on me, lied to me, watched me cry over betrayal while you were doing the same? Sana whispered. I thought Kamal was right. I thought you were the enemy. And now? She looked up, tears falling. Now I see you were trying to fix what others broke. I wanted to stop helping him, but it was too late. 1:30 p.m. The hardest choice. Mr. Shah stood at the window, silent. Finally, he spoke. You broke my trust, Sana, but I won't destroy you. He handed her 2 papers. A resignation letter, a reference letter with no mention of betrayal. She stared at him in shock. Why? Because if I punish every broken person, there'll be no one left to build with. Tam PM. Sana. Walks away. The entire office watched as Sana quietly picked up her bag and walked out. No one knew why. Some whispered. Some guessed. But Mr. Shah said nothing. He sat alone in his office. One more person gone. One more scar added. PM. Kamal's final play. Begins in a dark room far away. Kamal poured a glass of wine. He smiled as he received a new message. She's gone. You're inside? Help has been removed. He replied, Perfect. That means he's alone now. And I'm ready for the final move. He opened a folder on his desk. The board members' private records. Names, secrets, mistakes. He was going to expose them all. Let's see how Mr. Shah saves himself this time. Everything was falling apart. Sana was gone. The board had started asking questions, and now Kamal had released everything. AM. The Bomb Drops, a major news site, published a shocking article. Top company in crisis, board secrets leaked, private emails, old scandals, internal arguments, financial errors, all made public. The headline hit like a bullet. Phones started ringing. Reporters gathered outside. The company's stock dropped 9% in 1 hour. Mr. Shah stood in his office, calm, but silent. AM. The board turns. Inside the boardroom, the pressure exploded. One member shouted, "You said you had things under control." Another said, "We trusted you with this company. Now we're being destroyed." Mr. Shah didn't argue. He only said, "Give me till 6 p.m. They hesitated, but finally the chairman agreed. "Fine, you have 1 day, 1 move. Then you step down." 10 a.m. A visit from an old friend, just as Mr. Shah sat down to think. The door opened. It was Sana. "I know I don't deserve to be here," she said, "but I found something Kamal missed." She placed a flash drive on the table. Mr. Shah narrowed his eyes. "Why are you helping me?" Sana replied, her voice shaking, "Because you helped me, even when I didn't deserve it." 12 p.m. The real face of Kamal. The flash drive held video recordings. Kamal had been secretly recording calls, even with his own partners. In one call, he bragged, "Once the board collapses, I'll buy the company for cheap. I'll fire them. All. I'll own everything." In another, he said, "Shah is too soft. I'll crush him and use his team to rebuild it under my name." Mr. Shah smiled for the first time in days. "Got you." p.m. The press conference cameras rolled. Reporters waited. Mr. Shah stepped onto the stage, not as a victim, but as a fighter. He didn't cry. He didn't defend. He simply said, "You saw leaked emails. You saw private mistakes, but you didn't see the man behind the curtain." He pressed play. The crowd heard Kamal's voice. They saw his face. They listened to him laughing, mocking, planning a full takeover. The room went silent. p.m. Public reaction. News channels flipped. Twist in corporate leak story. Mastermind revealed. CEO fights back with proof. Kamal exposed. People online started praising Mr. Shah for staying calm. Employees in the building clapped as the news spread. Even ex-employees wrote messages. "We always believed in you, sir." p.m. The final board vote. The board gathered. Everyone was quiet. Then one member stood and said, "We doubted you, Shah, but you didn't quit. You didn't attack us. You protected even those who betrayed you." She looked around the room. "I say we vote to keep him as our CEO." Hands went up, one by one, unanimous. T-par. p.m. Alone. Again. Everyone went home. The office was quiet. Sana came to say goodbye. "I still think I should leave," she said softly. Mr. Shah nodded. "Maybe. But this door will always stay open for you." She left with tears in her eyes. p.m. Kamal's last message. Mr. Shah received one final text. "You win this time, Shah. But remember, not every war is fought in the office." He smiled and replied, "And not every man you crush stays down."